What's going on, America? Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And I want to really break something down today because I think it's important from just a analytical viewpoint to study a narrative that's been going on now for probably going on 2 or 3 years, which is the narrative of J6 being an insurrection, and that it was, of course, equivalent to 9/11 and, of course, Pearl Harbor. We don't want to get these type of historical magnanimous events conflated with each other. We don't want to undermine something so serious as 9/11 and as Pearl Harbor if whatever you're comparing it to does not live up to it. So we're going to go ahead and just break this down into several phases and explore the differences between these three magnanimous events and let the audience conclude, do they think that these are all on the same level? Now, why is this important? It's important because we're currently living in a time where there is a political element that is trying to use the January 6th insurrection that they're calling it as justification to remove Donald Trump from the ballot in different states. And they're also using this as a predicate to label a lot of American citizens as insurrectionists, as domestic terrorists, all of these things. See, so we don't want to ever allow our government to take advantage of our naivety, of our ignorance, and start making comparisons to things that you should never make a comparison to. So we're going to go ahead and psychoanalyze this in 3 different phases. And after we get done, we're going to see what you guys think. We're going to see if this lives up to these drastic statements and decisions that are being done all across our country by federal judges and by, of course, prosecutors and the Democrat Party and the liberal media, who is hanging on to this narrative that if you question what took place on J6, then you too must be an insurrectionist or supporting one. So now we got to dive deep into it. Are y'all ready for phase 1? Let's get it. What's going on, America? Welcome to Kevin's Corner, where I try to make some sense out of nonsense. Before we get into this video, I need y'all to do me a favor. Hit that like button, share my videos. Please make sure you subscribe. Make sure your notification buttons are turned on to all. Subscribe to my alternative channel just in case YouTube give me the slip or something. You'll know how to find me. Don't forget to check me out with all the podcasts and follow me on Rumble and the Jungle. All the links are listed below. If you want to donate to my channel, feel free. Those links are below as well. Now, with no further ado,
welcome to my party, we're just getting started.
Make sure you check out the merch store and text MAGA to 330-974-4607 so you can be a part of my text chain just in case they bounce me off of YouTube. Now, let's get into this. So now, as you heard in my intro, that we have to break this down into 3 different phases. And I think the first phase we're going to start off with is something simple. Now, before I get into this, I want everybody to understand this is my opinion, okay? This is simply some clips that we have received and we have seen on the internet, and we're using them to come to some conclusions, to draw some conclusions. But I'll just say this. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an investigator. I, of course, am just simply leaving this up to the audience to make their own decision based on using a little common sense, starting off with something that everybody should be able to do. When you imagine something, whether it be a story that somebody tells you, you have to gauge what are they trying to convey to you. Are they trying to make this story seem exciting, thrilling, magnanimous? And the details that they include in that story should make it very clear what the story is about. You should have images in your head when somebody's telling a story. If you're sitting up here telling me about a guy who fought off 10 people by himself, and then all of a sudden dragons came out and attacked this dude, I'm envisioning that in my head. It's no different than when you go to a movie. You have an expectation of what that movie is about based on the trailer, based on people coming out that movie and say, dude, you should have saw it, man. It was crazy, man. It was so exciting, all kind of action. But what if you walked in there and you saw the movie and the movie didn't fit the description, or didn't fit the trailer, or didn't fit all of the hype and the narratives that people were coming out saying it was about? You would be disappointed. So what I'm going to do in phase 1 is simply show you some examples of these 3 events that someone you're very familiar with claims that these are all on the same level. Let's get it. Now, before we get into this, make sure you hit that like button, share my videos, follow me on all the other platforms, and please help out the channel by supporting me through my monthly fundraiser. A link is below this video. You can do that because sure enough, YouTube ain't gonna like this one. They might even unexist me over this, but I don't care. This is worth exploring, so let's do it.
Certain dates echo throughout history, including dates that instantly remind all who have lived through them where they were and what they were doing when our democracy came under assault. Dates that occupy not only a place on our calendars, but a place in our collective memory.
Whoa, now she's talking big, see, and I have to agree because, see, when you look at things that has happened through your life and it has impacted you and has burnt itself into your memory, it's usually placed in your memory because of one of three ways. One is because it might be something you were interested in, so it just, dropped itself into your memory. You'll never forget it because you were interested in it. Number two is repetition. You keep seeing or hearing something, and all of a sudden it's burnt into your memory. And number three is a traumatic experience, whether it be good or bad. For example, I know exactly where I was at and what I was doing when 9/11 took place. My father and all of them, they knew where they were at when President Kennedy was assassinated. These are moments that are sketched into your memory because they're so magnanimous. But I have no idea what I was doing when J6 happened. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and see where she's going with this because she's saying it should be sketched into our memories.
December 7th, 1941, September 11th, 2001, and January 6th, 2021.
What?
September 11th, 2001.
The plane just what? 737?
What?
The World Trade Center. Who are you talking to? Oh, God. Oh, my God.
December 7th, 1941.
Now, those two clips we just watched, based on my historical knowledge, based on word of mouth, all of that, these clips match up with the narrative. I'm saying, well, yeah, I remember seeing those clips, and 9/11 was pretty bad. They're saying it was one of the worst attacks on the homeland. Oh, yeah, I've watched movies about Pearl Harbor. I've heard stories about it. Look at the carnage. I mean, all of that stuff lines up. But then you get to this.
And January 6th, 2021.
Yeah. Greatest threat to the homeland since 9/11, y'all. Since Pearl Harbor. Look at that. Now, if I walk into the movies and I'm expecting to see an insurrection, I'm disappointed. I want my money back.
September 11th, 2001.
You over the sign on an airplane that's been hijacked, and things will go well. I'm looking good. I just want you to know I absolutely love you. I want you to do good. So have a good time. Same to my parents and everybody. And I just totally love you, and I'll see you in Denver. Bye, babe.
What are those people gonna do? All the elevators are blocked out.
Oh my God, so both towers are now.
So now imagine if you're in that situation and you got to make a phone call home to your family to let them know you may never see me or hear from me again. I might not make it back. That right there is a serious situation. It's not like the phone calls that we saw Nancy Pelosi making in the basement where she was being filmed by her daughter and was talking about how she wanted to punch President Trump in the nose and she'll knock him out and she'll go to jail. She'll go to jail and all of that. And she's been waiting on all of these people to come over here and trespass on the Capitol. It's not like that, see. These were calls where, you know, this is a serious situation. You may never see me again. See, I can empathize with that man right there because I'm saying, yeah, you probably were never coming back from that situation. That right there is serious. Let's see if the other one lives up to it. Attack on Pearl Harbor. Well, look at this from the movie Pearl Harbor. Reenactment. Oh, okay. Well, look at that. Now that looks like a real attack on the homeland. Incoming, y'all. They got actual bullets and everything. They got bullets, planes, folks getting hurt, killed, all of that. Then
On
J6.
January 6th, 2021.
What? Wait, where's all the bullets? Where's the attack? Why are they all moving around so slowly? I'm sorry, I paid my money to come in and see an insurrection on the screen, and what I'm seeing is people walking around with cell phones and stuff like this. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't footage outside of the building, which of course that's all they want you to see is just the one side. They want you to see the footage of people climbing up the walls and stuff like that, which we're going to be exploring in our little experiment as we go on. They want you to see that stuff and think that's it. And I'm just here to show you the other side of it, which they tried to hide from you, which shows the inside of the building and what was taking place, which doesn't live up to what they're telling us the insurrection was. So now you come out of the movie and say, man, dude, you need to go see this movie, Insurrection. It's crazy, man. They was going over walls, man. They put up this big noose that was going to hang folks. And then, man, they was going to go ahead and get the vice president. They was going to get the speaker of the house and do all kind of things to her, man. It was wild. And then I go to the movie expecting that, and I'm seeing that right there. And then you got the nerve to say, this right here is just as bad as 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. Do the footage line up? Can you not see the difference? Isn't it odd that they don't want you to see all the footage because they know if you see the footage, you would find out that the movie has been pumped up to be let down. Interesting. Let's go ahead and see if Kamala Harris, who has disgraced the honor and all of the lives that were lost in 9/11 and also during Pearl Harbor, let's see if she could find at least something that would make us think this is on the same level.
September 11th, 2001.
I just got hit. Don't say that. God damn, I can't even protect my NCA.
Wow.
December 7th, 1941.
Look at that. Yeah. Pearl Harbor looked like a mess.
And January 6th,
January 6th. Here we go.
2021.
Okay. Well, wait a minute. Why are those cops standing aside? That's odd. Okay, no sense of urgency by the police. I'm just let these people slowly walk out of the door. Wow, just letting the insurrectionists go? I'm a little disappointed in this movie. I just heard Kamala Harris compare this to 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. And as I'm watching this, I'm seeing nothing but people walking in the line as the cops stand aside. I didn't see this in Pearl Harbor. I didn't see the people just standing on a boat watching the Japanese do whatever they wanted to do to them. I didn't see the police on 9/11 just standing outside and not rushing into the building, no sense of urgency, firefighters out there just chilling. I didn't see that. I saw people acting in a manner which lives up to the narrative that these were horrific historical events. But now I'm seeing something that they're telling me is a historical, magnanimous event that was equal to those two. And I see police officers casually just standing there. Maybe it gets better. Maybe the movie gets better. Let's see.
September 11th.
September 11th.
Tuesday, 9:47
Listen to this.
a.m.
Hi, baby. Baby, you have to listen to me carefully. I'm on a plane that's been hijacked. I'm on the plane. I'm calling from the plane. I want to tell you I love you. Please tell my children that I love them very much. And I'm so sorry, babe. I hope to be able to see your face again, baby. I love you. Bye.
Wow. Now, did anybody make a call out of the Capitol like that to their family? I'm in here. The insurrectionists are breaking in. They're coming after me. I may never see you again. I love you. Did anybody make those calls? And not to mention that right after the insurrection took place on J6, 2 hours later, they were back in the Capitol to finish their business. Do you think that all the people during this next clip right here got back on the boat and finished, swabbing the deck and doing the things that they, had to do prior to this attack on Pearl Harbor? Do you think that all of the people in the building during 9/11 that collapsed, they decided right afterwards, 2 hours later, we're going to go back to work and finish what we were doing, okay? It was a minor inconvenience, a hiccup.
December 7th, 1941.
Now that right there looks like a real attack on the homeland. Yeah. Wouldn't want to be a part of that right there. That looks dangerous.
and January 6th.
Oh, January 6th. Here we go.
They are inside Statuary Hall. This is a legendary place where all of us who've covered Capitol Hill, it's hard to believe what we're seeing right there.
Yes, it is hard to believe what I'm seeing right here because, see, I just got sold a bill of lies. They just told me this was the worst attack on the homeland, and I was coming to see a movie called The Insurrection, which is the greatest attack on the homeland since 9/11, Pearl Harbor, and all of that stuff. And I'm seeing people politely walking between velvet ropes. This right here, man, I feel like I have been tricked and bamboozled because that doesn't look like what I would envision the worst attack on the homeland since these other two events would look like. That looks like somehow those people are either confused or feel like they should be there because they have no sense of urgency. They have no sense of fear that the police are going to do anything to them. And I wonder why. Because, see, you think the Japanese would have landed on those boats and just walked around casually thinking that the American soldiers wouldn't do anything to them? Is that what you thought would have happened? See, these are things that if you are trying to be objective, you should be able to start drawing some conclusions and say, maybe they hyped this up. Maybe they're using this for a reason that has nothing to do with protecting the homeland and the people and all this stuff. Maybe they're springboarding off of this narrative to do something else that benefits them and not the people. So let's continue to explore by simply just pointing out these video clips and showing some compare and contrast.
They're just walking through. Where are Capitol Police?
Inside the Capitol, and as you can see, the protesters were peacefully entering the building, at least at this entrance and others, and walking past a group of police officers who didn't even tell them that they were supposedly trespassing.
This is crazy.
Or that they should leave.
I want my money back. I want my money back. So let me see, even though the CNN was covering those people walking between the velvet ropes and trying to make it seem like it was exciting, we just witnessed CNN do what somebody who would come out the movie say, dude, you should have saw it. It was crazy, man. Insurrection all over the place. They were slinging insurrection on the walls, slinging insurrection in the seats. It was crazy, man. You feel like you're right in the movie, man. Like you are being threatened, like you living it. And then all of a sudden, you watch those people slowly and calmly walking between those velvet ropes, and you come out looking for that guy who just told you that it was one of the greatest movies ever. You're saying, dude, you just lied to me. And then what Mark Dice just showed, those people were walking right past the police. Now understand, these police should be thrown in a slammer because they didn't even try to stop the insurrectionists. In fact, they got out their way and did some other things too, as we can observe. Does this look like an insurrection? Look at that little fat cop right there. What is he doing? Wait, he's waving them towards the Capitol, not away from it.
I'll talk over it. You can go ahead and play it. Just kind of scroll through it. And he's coming in.
Okay. Okay, I got some questions. I got some questions. First things first, remember, this is the most deadliest attack on the homeland. Now, it sounds like the directors of this movie didn't want us to see all of the hidden scenes and the director's cut and all of that stuff because they tried to hide a lot of this information and this videos from us. See, for some reason they didn't want us to see that. But I am a little concerned how this little cop right here managed to stop all of those insurrectionists by simply putting his hand up there like this. No gun, no nothing. And what did they do? They accommodated him by saying, oh, okay, go ahead. Yeah, my fault. Do what you got to do. Yeah, they accommodated him. Now I'm wondering when the Japanese came in on Pearl Harbor, if they would have went ahead and put their hand up and said, you know what? Hey, we ain't got time right now. Give us a minute to get prepared for your attack. Okay. Oh, okay. No problem. Go ahead and get yourselves ready so we can. You think those terrorists coming into the building in 9/11, if they'd have said, hey, don't fly these planes and we're still working. We got some things to do. Let us get ready. You think that they would have just said, okay, no problem. So now we see some strange behavior that's not matching up with the narrative. Not to mention what?
They're coming up. Now watch what comes other. Whoops.
What comes
there
up?
Stop. A photographer is conveniently poised to catch all the action. That's amazing. A protester that comes with his own photographer, Lance.
Shocking. Look at that. How'd they just get in those doors like that? That's crazy. It's like the doors just opened up for them. Wow. But this, of course, was one of the greatest threats to the homeland, and it was an attack on our democracy. I don't know, this movie right here is starting to suck. Why is that cop just standing there? Why are all these cops just standing there? That's odd. They don't have insurrection behavior right there. Their body language is very relaxed and casual. In fact, there's one of the cops walking up the stairs with one of the insurrectionists with his arm around him. What is going on here? But we just heard Kamala Harris disgrace the lives lost by saying that these three We're on the same level. Huh. Maybe
police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go.
Okay, wait. What are these cops doing? How'd that guy get behind the cops and he's waving them all to come
And
on?
they just breached the Capitol again.
Okay, how did that just happen? Why did those cops just say, forget it, walk away, let them walk past whatever little bike rail was or whatever, and then one guy's back there waving them in? Yeah, no resistance whatsoever. I mean, did it look like that during 9/11 and during Pearl Harbor? Were they so casual? Did they say, you know what, let's just give up real quick because look at this. I mean, the Japanese are here now, so let them come on in and do whatever they want to do. Did it look like all of the firefighters and police officers that rushed into the building during 9/11 said, well, the building's already collapsing, we might as well go ahead and just chill and let it just go ahead and collapse? No, they all had a sense of urgency. They all were trying to stop something like that from happening. That's why we can say that these were some of the worst things that ever took place on the homeland. But yet we're looking at this video footage that Kamala Harris just compared to 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. And she wants us to believe that this is an insurrection. Because if we don't believe it's an insurrection, then how will they justify removing Donald Trump from the ballot by saying he was the one that inspired this insurrection that he wasn't charged for, and all of that stuff? How would they be able to do that? See, here we go again. Pearl Harbor.
December 7th, 1941.
1941, look at that. The reenactment of that. Look at that guy sitting there looking at that carnage. See, now let me ask you to summarize this. Phase one. As you look at that clip right there, and that guy looking out over all of that carnage, all of that fire, all of those lives lost, can you relate to that man's sorrow and his pain? Do you think he was able to go back to work 2 hours later and just brush this off like, yeah? Do you think that that guy right there is viewing what took place on Pearl Harbor and all the people who watched those buildings come down? Do you think they were viewing all of that the same way that you just viewed what they're telling you was the greatest attack on the homeland since these two magnanimous events? And yet they went back to work 2 hours later and stuff like that. And we got video footage of cops meandering about and waving folks in and escorting folks around the building and things like that. Do you think they were left with the same impact that the people that stood there during Pearl Harbor and on 9/11 had? But yet Kamala Harris wants you to think that. So this is phase one, just to soften people up so they can understand that they might just be being hoodwinked. Now, I'm not saying absolutely nothing took place on January 6th, but the first phase is just to get you to think, does this make sense, and is the comparison realistic, or is it inflated? And if it is, why? Now, if you're a person who just watched all of those clips and said that absolutely they all look the same, then you have to question some things about your intelligence. Your own deductive reasoning and your eyes and common sense should be able to watch those clips and say, they're not matching up. Something seems out of place. I go from 9/11, Pearl Harbor, yep, that looks accurate. Then J6, where people are walking around and cops are escorting people around. So that's just phase one. You got to stay tuned for phase two. All right, but it's coming. All right, so don't forget, hit that like button, share my videos, follow me on all the social media platforms. And don't forget, if you want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking on my monthly fundraiser link right below this video and check out the merch store. Make sure you're still subscribed. Make sure your notification buttons are turned on, and we'll see y'all in phase two. God bless. Take care.